7 o'clock on Monday, April 6, 2020, and I'll call the meeting to order. And I'd ask council if there's any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Seeing none, the first item on our agenda is a little different than normal, and it's a resolution to amend our procedural bylaw to permit electronic council meetings during the period of an emergency. So I'd just like to give a little explanation for that. And the reason why this meeting is the format that it is. As you know, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the province of Ontario has declared an emergency on March 17th, followed by Middlesex County and the township of Adelaide Metcalfe. In response to the current COVID-19 situation, whereby all residents are requested to do their part and physically distance themselves from others and to keep business continuity, the province of Ontario passed an amendment to the Municipal Act 2001 that allows for the electronic participation in meetings during times of emergencies. I'd like to advise that this council meeting is being streamed live on YouTube, and in the event that there are any technical difficulties with the live stream, this meeting will continue to be recorded and a link will be placed on our website for viewing later tonight or tomorrow morning. Given that this meeting is being recorded, this will serve as a public record for the meeting. As you can see, all of council is here and their names and their positions are clearly displayed. Staff is also here with their names and position displayed, as well as an additional member from Middlesex County IT Department, Morgan Kelper, which is going to be moderating this meeting to make sure that the meeting runs smoothly as possible from an information technology standpoint. I want to assure our residents, the general public, and the media they are able to watch and hear the business that is being conducted by council by using this online stream that is linked within our agenda and our website using the services that Middlesex County IT Department has set up. Council members will be participating by video or audio and telephone, and delegations can participate through the online streaming process as long as they contact Jennifer Turk, our clerk, and schedule a date and time ahead of the preparation of the agenda, as per our procedural bylaw. This council meeting does not have any delegations. So before we can continue with our regular business for council, we need to amend our township procedural bylaw to include electronic participation. And our clerk, Jennifer, has attached a resolution to the agenda for council's review, and I'm looking for somebody to move that. If you just raise your hand. So that's Deputy Mayor Hendricks and Councillor McKinnon. Is there any discussion on this? Yeah. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, so moving along on our agenda is our minutes of our previous meetings. And we have all three of them in the motion there, and that's the meeting of March 2nd, 2020, the meeting of March 10th, 2020, and March 12th, 2020, the special policy area review public meeting. We have a mover and seconder for those minutes. Okay, Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Clark. Is there any discussion on those? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, we're going to move into our staff reports as we don't have any correspondence. And our first staff report is from our clerk, Jennifer.
Thanks, Mayor Smith. As you can see, this is an information report for council regarding an appeal that we received by the applicant at 28636 Center Road. And it's just to let council know that at some point, once we're back into regular business, that we will have a tribunal that will be set. We did receive acknowledgement from Alpat verifying that they had received all of our information. So it's just a matter of waiting until COVID-19 passes and we go back to regular business, at which time, once I find out what the date is, I'll let council know.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Is there any questions at all from members of council? Seeing none, so we have the motion resolved that council receive the LPAT appeal for 1536850 Ontario Inc. at 28636 Central Road, staff report as presented by our clerk. Mover and seconder, Deputy Mayor Hendricks and Councillor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, we'll move on to our next staff report, also from Jennifer.
Thanks,
Go
Mayor
ahead.
Smith. This is just a summary regarding our building permit, and it's from November till the end of February. So it's just for council FYI to let them know.
Okay, so we need a motion to resolve the council receive the building permit issued staff report from the period of November 29th, 2019 to February 29th, 2020 as presented by the clerk. Okay, Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Clark. If there's no discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, thank you, Jennifer. We'll move on to our next staff report, and that's from our CAO Treasurer, Kathy Case. Kathy.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. My first report is the invoice payment approval listing for the period February 29th, 2020 to April 2nd, 2020 in the amount of $1,136,722.51.
Okay, is there any questions on the accounts at all from members of council? Okay. Councillor McKinnon.
Just on page 5, through you, Mayor Curtis, to the CAO, the Advantage Farm equipment of $429.80. I wondered, it said shop repairs, and I just wondered what that was.
Okay. I can just pop out and get the invoices if you got a moment. Or Coulter, do you know what that was for, the shop repairs at Advantage Farm equipment? From March the 5th?
I believe that was for fixing our pressure washer, I want to say. I don't have them in front of me as well, but
Yes,
that's pretty sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Hendricks, you had a question? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's a small item, but I see the fire internet bill is like over $200 a month. I'm just wondering, is that just providing internet to the fire hall, or is there more involved in that?
that is for their internet service at the fire hall. Yes,
Per month?
per month.
That seems a little hefty.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Is that also not got something to do with the wastewater as well, though?
No, the
there no-
wastewater has its own dedicated line.
It does, okay.
Doesn't
thank
have
you.
internet, it just has a dedicated phone line there. It's something that IT will look at when they come in and update the information. And we set the fire chief up with likely an Adelaide Metcalfe email address as well, so that we don't have these problems. We have Bellnet doesn't always cooperate with our servers, so we're going to be looking at that.
Okay, is there any other questions on the accounts at all? Okay, seeing none, so we need a motion to resolve that council receive the invoice payment approval staff report as presented by the CAO Treasurer, and that council approve the account listings for the period of February 28th to April 2nd, 2020 in the amount of $1,136,722.51 as presented. Okay, Deputy Mayor Hendricks and Councillor McKinnon, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
The next report is in regards to deferral of penalty and interest. With the current state of affairs surrounding the COVID virus, many of our residents are going to be financially impacted. A lot of municipalities have already taken the step to proceed to waive penalty and interest for some period until there's some recovery from the crisis. What we are proposing is to waive the application of the penalty portion to outstanding 2020 property tax accounts for the months of April and May, that the return payment fee be reduced to the cost recovery until June 30th, and that the property tax registration process be suspended until June 30th, and that any drain invoice payments be deferred without any interest until June 30th.
Thank you, Kathy. Is there any questions from members of council? Okay, seeing none. So we have the recommendation in front of us, which Kathy just went over. Is there a mover and seconder for that? Okay, Councillor Clark and Councillor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, Kathy.
Okay, my next report is the statement of council remuneration for 2019. It's required under section 284(1) of the Municipal Act that we report to the public the expenses of council from the previous year. And a copy of the report is attached for your information, and it will be posted on the Facebook or the website and in the office.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Is there any questions from council? Seeing none, so we need a resolution to resolve that council receive the statement of council remuneration for 2019 report as presented by the CAO treasurer. Okay, Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Brody, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
The next report is the public sector salary disclosure for 2019. There were no salaries over $100,000 to report as per the Ministry of Municipal Affairs requirement.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Mover and seconder to resolve that council received the public sector salary disclosure for 2019 staff report as presented by the CAO treasurer. And I'm seeing lots of hands going up. Councillor Clark and Councillor Brody, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
Okay. The next is just to update council on the Enbridge natural gas expansion program update. The information was time sensitive. It was circulated to council in between this meeting and the last meeting. Council will see from the letter that was submitted, all of the 5 in the proposed list of expansion projects were included, plus the Egremont Drive, which is a continuation of the existing gas line, as well as Murphy Drive from Kerwood Road to Melbourne Road were also submitted for consideration by Enbridge.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Is there any questions from council?
I just have a couple of comments. I was glad to see that the Murphy Drive from Kerwood Road to the Melbourne Road was added, because there is an industrial property there that will probably benefit greatly from that, and Enbridge will be able to recover quite a bit once they get going. After I spoke to Mayor Smith, I was advised that it really wasn't based on industrial commercial, it was actually residential. So I'm disappointed to see that the Walkers and Scotchmere and Innadale was not included in that, because I think we did say that we should ask for maybe more than we thought we might end up with, but if you don't ask, it wouldn't have been considered. So I'm just disappointed that wasn't included. That's all.
Okay, Councillor McKinnon.
Further to Councillor Clark's comments, I wondered about Dundonald as well, and wondered if possibly that was being considered through Southwest Middlesex, given it's the dividing road between Southwest Middlesex and Adelaide Metcalfe. Could Kathy elaborate on that?
On the Dundonald, it ends quite a bit up from our border. So with the program that was offered, a lot of it was based on the extension of lines that were already existing, because they can get more hookups and the expense isn't there to bring it further. I can follow up with Southwest Middlesex and see if they submitted any proposals as well.
That's good. Thank you.
I believe, just to add to that, I think talking with a member of the Southwest Middlesex Council, they submitted just generally the entire township. They didn't segment it into projects like we've done. I think the route that we went is the proper way to do that, to have different projects. I don't know, Kathy, is there an ability to add any more on to that expression of interest, or is it once it's sent, it is what it is.
I've sent that in, but we could also send in, as an addition, they should consider this as it's a main artery through the township, and it could connect the two municipalities.
And then we're also doing that, Councillor Clark's comment as well with the, I think, Councillor Clark, you were saying Walkers, Scotchmere, and Innerdale as well, or which areas? Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Yes, sorry.
There we go. Okay. Okay, that'd be perfect.
So,
Thank
so
you.
what I will do is follow up with them, and just let them know that the council also wants to see them take some consideration in the Dundonald area and expanding it through the Walkers, Scotchmere, and Innerdale. Even though it's not a densely populated area, there is residents there that would benefit from the extensions.
Yep. Sounds good. Okay, is there any other questions at all on this report? Seeing none, we need a motion then to resolve that council direct staff to submit an expression of interest or expression of support for the natural gas expansion for the township of Adelaide Metcalfe. The following projects: one, which is Cuddy Drive, Sexton to Center, Napperton Drive, Sexton to existing gas lines. The third one is Catesville Drive, Sexton to the existing gas lines. Napier Block, which is Melwood, Napier, Winter, and Kerwood. Calvert Drive, which is Dodge to Thames. And then would you like to, Jennifer, would you like to add in those additional ones that were mentioned into that motion?
Yeah. Yes, please. We'll add those additional ones.
Which would be the Walkers, Scotchmere, and Innerdale, and Dundonald.
Dundonald, yes.
Okay.
Well, if I may, we actually had already submitted under those. It should be the Egremont Drive continuation of existing gas line and Murphy Drive from Kerwood Road to Melbourne Road. Those have already been submitted in one letter, and that a follow-up letter be submitted for the Dundonald and the Scotchmere, Walkers, and Innerdale area.
Perfect. So Jennifer, you have that figured out for the minutes?
Yep.
Okay, so we need a mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Clark and seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, we'll move on to our next report from Kathy.
My next report is just an update on some of the provincial legislation that's been approved over the last 2 or 3 weeks in regards to how it affects the municipality. A lot of it has been extended and continues to be extended, and there was more updated on Friday in regards to building permits and construction. Council will receive a further update on that as well.
Is there any questions at all? Okay, seeing none, we need a motion to resolve. Oh, Councillor Brody.
So building permits, I see that, so residential and stuff is basically stopped, but what about the essential services? Like there's a few of them around that still have lingering issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah, Kathy?
As in essential services, if it's a hospital, it's essential services. Those are what they're considering there. But
No, but agriculture is essential services. There's building permits like that are they still going to be worked on?
Right. What is going to happen is the CBO will review it on a case-by-case basis, and if it does involve the productivity and agriculture and the food supply, then the permit will be issued.
Okay, because there's one that is very into that.
Okay, so yeah, I think Kathy answered your question. So if it's agriculturally related, then it would be approved or would be able to continue on. Is that correct, Kathy?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other questions at all? Seeing none, we need a motion to resolve that council receive the COVID-19 legislative update staff report as presented by the CAO treasurer. Deputy Hendricks and Councillor Brody, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, thank you, Kathy. We're going to move into the Public Works Manager's report. And we have Coulter on the phone. We can't see you. We have to work on that high-speed internet out in the out in Adelaide Metcalfe there, Morgan. Go ahead, Coulter.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Smith. Tonight I just have a report on tenders and quotes. Tenders and quotes are issued in compliance with the township procurement policy. Our maintenance gravel and our dust suppressant were issued on Friday, March 20th, 2020, and closed on Friday, April 3rd, 2020 at noon. Reports are attached for council's review and approval. The first report is for our maintenance gravel. The recommendation would be that council accept the tender from Mackenzie and Henderson for the supply of 14,000 ton of M gravel in the amount of $14.13 per ton, plus HST, subject to the submission of proof of insurance, hold harmless agreement, and WSIB certificate, as recommended by the Public Works Manager. And yep, go ahead.
Stop. We'll deal with that tender first, and then we'll move on to the second one, so I don't have to reread what you just said for the recommendation. Is there any questions on that recommendation? Seeing none, mover and seconder for the recommendation for the tender 02-2020. That's Councillor Clark and Councillor Brody. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, Coulter, move on to the next one there.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Smith. The next one is for our dust suppression. It was the recommendation would be that council accept the quote from Pollard Distribution for the supply of dust suppressant as quoted in the amount of $73,462.50, plus HST, subject to the submission of proof of insurance, hold harmless agreement, and WSIB certificate, as recommended by the Public Works Manager.
Okay, thank you, Coulter. Is there any questions at all from members of council? So we have the recommendation in front of us, a mover and seconder. And Councillor Brody and Councillor McKinnon. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay. And Coulter, with those two tenders, are they in line with what you had in our draft budget?
Yes, I believe in the maintenance gravel, it was budgeted at $230,000. And we came in at, just looking back here, at $223,000. So we're pretty close there. And in the dust suppressant, our budget was $100,000, and we came in at $73,000. So we're a little bit lower, but I guess it's a little bit better that way than higher.
Perfect. Thank you, Coulter. Okay, so next on our agenda is our bylaws, but I was wondering, Jennifer, is it okay if we have any questions from members of council at all as our normal other business? Is there any questions or comments from members of council?
Like other business, or what are you referring to?
Other business.
Okay.
Looks like there's none. I guess we didn't need to have it on the agenda there. Okay, so we'll move into the bylaws, and we have a number of them. So we need a motion to resolve that all three readings be given to bylaw number 14 of 2020, the amendment to bylaw number 11 of 2018, our procedural bylaw, bylaw number 15 of 2020, the joint building committee, bylaw number 16 of 2020, RSM building consultants agreement, bylaw number 17 of 2020, the interim control bylaw, special policy area extension, bylaw number 18, 2020, confirm council proceedings, and that the bylaws be signed by the mayor and clerk and the corporate seal be attached. Mover and seconder for those. Okay, Deputy Mayor Hendricks and Councillor Clark. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. And on our agenda here, Jennifer, it says council take a 5-minute recess to allow the clerk to finalize the minutes for approval. Is that what we're still doing?
You don't need to do that. I'm actually okay. I wasn't sure how this was all going to go. I thought I was going to need a little extra time to put the minutes together, but I'm okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, with that, the only item we have left is our adjournment, and I just want to say it's great to see everybody on the screen here and the technology that we're able to use during this time. And everybody watching from home, I hope you enjoyed this interesting time of us using this technology. This is a first. This is very historic. A lot of councils in the county have started using Zoom and using live YouTube feed for their council meetings during this time. So with that, before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I just want to remind people to, if they're able to, distance themselves and wash your hands and be safe out there. So with that, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting at a record, I think, 7:25. Nobody wants to adjourn? There we go. Deputy Mayor Hendricks and Councillor, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.